Hello there, once again. Greetings and salutations, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome once again to the Storyteller's Corner. I'm your host, Joshua T. Calkin Sherwichy, also known as Byron Osidious. Once again, doing a brief stream on my break at work. Last summer I did a number of these when the weather was nice and not absolutely scorching. But then once the weather started to turn foul and cold and chilly and rainy, I kind of cut it off. But yeah, there there's good reason for me to be doing this too, which is presently, while I would normally be spending most of my breaks just reading whatever I'm in the midst of reading, or working on writing whatever project I'm currently working on. At the moment, I am early on into a new novel project, and still in the very early stages of kind of getting a feel for how this is going to go, going largely off of outline notes that I've got jotted down in handy dandy little outline notebook, which looking through, there are a couple of short story ideas that I've gotten here that I scratched out, and oh boy, looking back over them, kind of glad I scratched them out because talk about a downer for a couple of them. My goodness, I was clearly not in a good state of mind or frame of reference when I was outlining a couple of these stories because, Jesus, they're depressing. So, yeah, it's an unfortunate truth of what I do as a genre fiction storyteller is oftentimes when I am brainstorming and coming up with concepts to jot down and start to flesh out for either short story or novella or even novel length project ideas, whatever mood I'm in or frame of mind I'm in emotionally and mentally at the time that I'm brainstorming tends to bleed very heavily into the nature or tone of the concept that I am outlining. And while that can be beneficial sometimes, it can also be a major detriment if the tone clashes with the actual overall, I want to say, natural direction the story should go. But as you can tell from the title of the stream, I'm just a paranoid storyteller yapping on his break. Part of my paranoia stems from a phenomenon that has been cropping up quite a lot in the last month or so, and apparently has reached kind of a fever pitch on Substack. There's a couple of folks who are engaging in rampant plagiarism on the platform. They are not yanking people's notes, which is notes is kind of the Twitter light social media aspect or component of the Substack platform, where people just throw out kind of quick, spur of the moment thoughts. These are not lengthy diatribes or in depth articles or pieces or essays. Notes is more for the kind of quick back and forth, a little bit more social media style element of Substack, as opposed to posts, where somebody actually puts in their thorough, thoughtful uh, essays, articles, or stories. Well, there is someone who has been cribbing a lot of people's free posts and articles, not notes, they're posts, they're actual articles or essays, and republishing them behind paywalls on their own much larger, more popular Substack accounts and getting paid for it. They're getting compensated because they're throwing these articles and essays behind a paywall without proper attribution. Substack's not doing anything about it. This phenomenon, this problem has been, and one specific user in particular has been reported on numerous occasions for having done this, and Substack has done nothing about it. And it doesn't seem as though they're inclined to do anything about it because the person who is accused of committing the plagiarism has a large number of paid subscribers. Well, Substack's getting a cut of that payment. They're getting a cut of those subscriptions. They're not going to cut off their gravy train. And the folks who are paid subscribers, they don't give a shit. And they don't believe or care about or hear about these smaller contributors who are flapping their arms around and waving the red flag saying, there's something wrong here. My work is being stolen and represented as if it's someone else's. Do something. And nobody at Substack's doing a damned thing about it. We saw this problem all over the place for years with YouTube. We're seeing it on Twitch, where people just snatch someone else's work and throw it up on their own channel, their own account, or their own stream, and claim it as their own because they're bigger, they're better known. They can plant their foot on the smaller creator and push down or send their followers and rabid adherents, like a bunch of rabid pack attack dogs, to denigrate, demean, and gaslight the original creator of the material into submission. It's pretty fucking flagrant and pretty rampant. And it's discouraging because we've already got so many other fucking problems going on all over these other platforms where we, the average everyday people, are supposed to be able to come to try and share our creative endeavors and our creations, our thoughts, opinions, perspectives, give our 2 cents, or provide our creative impulses. The vast majority of the stuff that I do online is storytelling. I share stories that I myself have written, or I talk about and review the books of other people. I talk the art of the written word and narrative. It's not exactly seen as a major art form anymore, but it's one of the originals. It's still there. Not that much of anybody gives a shite these days. Most folks, at least not to be a prick and not to be an elitist, but most of the folks who I watch and or listen to stream on a routine basis, even if I like them, I'd have to say about 60 to 70% of them probably could not read above a 6th or 7th grade level in terms of complexity. Now, in terms of word choice, there are some fantastic works of fiction out there that aren't written for a high grade level in terms of word selection and vocabulary difficulty. Some of the greatest works of fiction are things like noir pulp novels from the 1930s and 40s, which were written at a 6th, 7th, 8th grade reading level in terms of terminological challenge, but these stories were packed with meaning, with metaphor, with symbolism, and with metaphor or thought provocation. They weren't clunky. They weren't academically written, like something like you'd find from Dom DeLillo or David Foster Wallace. But they don't have to have that level of linguistic depth or verisimilitude or difficulty. Okay, it can be very simple but deep. You can have complexity and simplicity if you have deep concepts and philosophical notions hinted at or alluded to, but expressed with simplistic language. That is exceedingly rare these days, but it's exceptionally beautiful as well. But that requires a certain degree of reading comprehension, and I also think that a lot of folks who I will say I enjoy them, but I don't think they have that great a set of comprehension skills. Just saying. There are certain poor behaviors that should not be rewarded. And it's sort of depressing because I enjoy Substack. Just like for years I've enjoyed YouTube. And thus far for the last 3 or 4 years I've enjoyed Rumble. Well, they're pissing up a rope too right now. I mentioned a bit yesterday with their whole creator program. The fellow by the name of Nobody Has Spoken also he had quite the growl, quite the snarl at Rumble about the requirements to be in the Rumble program. And it's funny to me because after I got off of my stream last night, when I ended my stream on my break yesterday, Mr. Nobody, or rather, Nobody Has Spoken, was starting his stream on Rumble, and he griped and growled about the same exact thing that I had just finished growling about, which was, with regards to the Rumble partner or creator program, why are you going to mandate that people, as part of the program, who are already putting in a minimum of 30 total hours of streaming programming on Rumble per month to maintain their membership in the program, why are you going to mandate live ad reads during that time frame? Why? It's only to satisfy your advertising partners. I understand you need those advertising partners to stay afloat, but aren't you already getting these creator program members? Don't they have to meet a certain number of uh, uh, additional Rumble Premium signups tied to their account in order to remain in the program? They themselves have to maintain a Rumble Premium membership to be in the program. So you're already getting money there. You're already getting paid by the creators themselves. It's like their admission fee into the program. Part of me understands, though. Rumble has to pay for the. They have to pay for all the staff. They have to pay for the technology they're deploying. They have to pay for server space. I get it. It's got to be costly. I'm not enough of an idiot to not recognize there is a cost to all of this. It just seems egregious to me that many of the folks who are in the creator program, they've already, most of them, proven that they can get Rumble rants and donations brought in to the channel, to your service, by way of Rumble rants. I should know. I've thrown quite a few Rumble rants at people over the course of the last year. I usually don't pay for gifted subscriptions or memberships. I don't pay for a subscription to any specific channel or user myself. I just throw out one-time Rumble rants because I know that that's more feasible. I can check my PayPal account and say, can I afford to throw $3 or $4 or $5 right now? Yeah, I can throw it out there. Boom, done. Usually it's to the same handful of people too. Um, but it just seems to me like a wasted opportunity. And yes, they're early on in this thing too, and that's where I'll give Rumble a little bit more grace. Even though I was growling up a storm yesterday, I can definitely give the grace of, well, they're still getting a feel for this whole thing. Rumble's a lot newer to this thing than YouTube is, so, and newer than Twitch even in its way. And unlike the, you know, support network of Hamas Piker, um, Rumble doesn't have infinite Bezos bucks for by being owned by Amazon like Twitch does. So they got to be lean and mean. They're the lean, mean, green machine. So they're operating a little closer to the bone than Twitch or YouTube. I get it, but someone should reconsider that requirement of staying in the program, especially given that the ad reads that are available to streamers, to creators on uh, on Rumble. What if they don't actually support the product? You know, then and you're going to compel them to read ad copy for something that they don't actually know if they could get behind. Like I'm looking through the campaigns here, um, on Rumble Studio. Obviously, you have to have a certain minimum number of viewers in order to be allowed to do one of the ad reads to get paid. Like there's when you are on Rumble Studio, there's tabs on the right hand side. There's live chat, there's the studio, and there's campaigns. And under campaigns, you can either browse through the available listed ads, and it shows you how many minimum viewers you need to read that particular script. Doesn't say what's offered unless you can actually qualify for it. Or you can just skip through that, and go to click on the For You, and it will show you which ad campaigns you qualify to partake of as a streamer. Obviously, no campaigns are available for me. I haven't got the minimum number of viewers right now. Not that I ever do. But yeah, anyway, I started off talking about Substack and their nonsense, not dealing with the plagiarists on their platform. Every platform that we can go on as users to express ourselves artistically or factually, they all have their pros and cons, their ups and downs, plus and minus. Substack for a long time has been a haven for folks like myself. But unfortunately, it is going through the same enshittification that touches everything online. I don't know how much longer I can just continue to go through and do my usual thing and not say something about it. So, saying something a little bit about it right now, I might do a post or two on my Substack about the issues on the platform. And then I'll leave it at that and go back to doing what I usually do for the time being until I can pull the ripcord and find someplace else safe to land, because, like happens every time, I think eventually I'm going to have to move on. Really wish I didn't have to, but it is what it is. Now, I'm going to go ahead and cut this for now. Thanks for tuning in if you did. Later on a rewatch, Cheers.